Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. Do you remember the very first time you heard Iron Maiden? I do. Let's talk about it. Iron Maiden, awesome band. We all know this. One of the greatest metal bands of all time. In fact, one of the greatest bands of all time. It goes without saying. But do you remember the first time that you discovered Iron Maiden? This is a sort of crap that goes through my head on a daily basis. When did I get into this band? So I've been thinking about it and I've been able to track it back to sometime in 1986. I remember first ever seeing the name Iron Maiden and hearing about the name Iron Maiden is that I walked through a record store with my mum in Parabank Shopping Centre. The record store was called Carrick Records. Now, I'm really big into art and I've always been into cover artwork and just artwork in general of all sorts of things. And I walked past the CD, and I'm pretty sure it was Somewhere in Time, and being completely enamored by the CD cover. Now, at this time, CDs weren't massively huge, but they were introduced in Australia, and people were, I guess, buying them, but they were really expensive. And I remember picking up Somewhere in Time and going, oh, I really want to buy the CDs by this band. And my mum was just like, that's a heavy metal band, and I guess she didn't think that I was going to be into heavy metal. But anyway, I was just so intrigued by that artwork because if you've seen the Somewhere in Time artwork, it's some of the greatest artwork ever. And I was just so into it. I just kept looking at it, as a kid, just thinking like, wow, I really want this. I didn't know what it sounded like. I didn't know what it was, but I was so into the artwork that I really wanted to know what it was. But it wasn't until a little bit later when my brother brought home from school a cassette tape and it had Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast on it. I'm pretty sure it was Number of the Beast. And playing it to me, and I'm just being like, wow, this band's really, really cool. It had to have been 1986, late 1986. Because that was the year, I'm pretty sure, we all just started discovering, metal music and heavy stuff and whatever. So my brother brought home Number of the Beast and, other Iron Maiden records over time. We were listening to them. Now, my first Iron Maiden record is this one right here, which is the Number of the Beast. And I bought this at a record fair that was across the road from Elizabeth City Shopping Centre. There was a record fair that was on. I was really into Motorhead at the time, and I went to this record fair with my brother. He bought the very first Wasp album. I remember that. And I bought this. And this was, I think, like $6. And I was so blown away by it. There's the inner sleeve. There's the lyrics. I was so blown away by it because I love, like I said before, I love artwork, and I really love the artwork on this. Thought it was just so cool and scary or whatever. So I was really intrigued, and I bought it, and I got it home, and I listened to it constantly, to no end. This record always played in the house. I'm sure it drove my mum nuts. We want information, and I was just like, yeah, sorry, mum, but we're listening to Number of the Beast again for the 400th time today. So I was really into that, and that blew my mind. And then over time, you start becoming a bigger fan. But I was really into Motorhead, so the records that I wanted to buy were Motorhead records at the time. And then I found this one, and I think 1987, and this was my second Iron Maiden record that I bought. And I was just blown away because, again, the artwork. But also because in 1986, I saw a movie called Big Trouble and Little China. And that movie really introduced me to Asian culture. Even though it wasn't made in Asia, it was made in San Francisco. But it really blew my mind, and I just became obsessed with Asian culture. So for me to buy a Japanese pressing with the Obi strip, that was a no-brainer. That's why I grabbed this. There were two Japanese pressings on sale at this place. It was called the Muses Records, and it was in Rundle Arcade. And the other one was Live Plus One, and I didn't buy it, and I regretted it for the longest time because I had never seen it since, until I went to Japan last year and found a copy. But anyway, so I bought this one, and the reason that I picked it is because it had the Number of the Beast live, and I love the Number of the Beast, obviously because I had the album. So I bought that, and this one had 5 songs, and from memory, Live Plus One had 4 songs, and so I bought this one because it had 5, so I was getting more bang for your buck. It was $14.99 from the Muses Records. Comes with this like inner sleeve with all this Japanese writing on there, and there's this. Now this is where I realised the Live Plus One record was here, so I thought, oh wow, so these are the Japanese pressings. This record and Live Plus One are the only Japanese pressings I have of Iron Maiden. I do have some Spanish pressings which I picked up in 2019 of the first 2 records. For those who are unaware, Number of the Beast is actually not my favourite Iron Maiden record, even though I think it's freaking amazing. My favourite Iron Maiden record is actually the first one. I just love that sound and I love the songs, and it just seems, I don't know, like just it's got a bit more of a punk edge, even though it's not a punk record at all, but it just has that roughness and a bit of a, you know, that punk edge. And I guess that's probably Paul Di'Anno's influence, I'm not sure, but I really love those first 2 Iron Maiden records a lot, and that's why they're my 2 favourite Iron Maiden records, even though I love everything. You know, I think Iron Maiden have done amazing records. Well, the first 8 I guess were really 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 good, and then I guess after that it kind of like dipped a bit, and over time I feel it's dipped a bit more. But the songs that were the singles off those later albums, absolute blinders of songs. But overall, I feel some of those records just drag on a bit. Especially that last one. I can't even tell you a single song off that last album off the top of my head right now, because I put it on, but it's like background music. It just, one song goes into another, and I just don't know where they all start and stop and whatever. And I know that's on me, but, you know, that's my fault for not paying enough attention, I guess, to later day Iron Maiden. But I still love it. You know, I put it on. I don't hate it. I'm sitting there going, yeah, this is cool. I just don't know which song's which. But that's how I discovered Iron Maiden. My brother bringing home that cassette tape and then me buying that record. So, yeah. And seeing that CD in Carrick Records in Parabank Shopping Centre, which is where I bought a lot of records over time. When I was really, really young, I started getting to, you know, buying my own records, and I remember I bought some Motorhead from there. I bought a Motorhead poster from there. I remember the very first job I ever had, very first job. As soon as I got paid that day, me and my brother went to Parabank Shopping Centre and I bought a Motorhead poster and stuck it on my wall, and I've still got that poster to this day. Anyway, that's another story for another time. But thank you so much for watching this episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. Please tell me below how you discovered Iron Maiden, if you've got a cool and quirky story about it. Always happy to read those stories. Feel free to subscribe, because I feel like I might do more of these like short little episodes of how I discovered a certain band, because I feel there's some pretty funny ones and some unusual stories to go with this. So yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Look after each other. Go buy some records. Crank up some Iron Maiden. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.